Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And let's just start with the good news. Damar Hamlin opened his eyes last night, woke up, has been communicating with doctors by pen and paper, still a little under 50% of his breathing's coming from the ventilator, but he's holding hands with his family, and that's just some really good news.
Yeah, that's good. That's a quick recovery from where we were yesterday. Like being able to write is pretty impressive to start with, right?
And I know everybody wants to be heard on the internet, obviously, but like that's the world we're in. But there's a lot of cardiologists saying that there's a really good chance this kid could play again because it was such a freak injury and there shouldn't be any like permanent effects as long as he was breathing. And they say that they think the medical staff did a wonderful job and he's probably okay with that.
Yeah, that's what they said about Christian Eriksen as well. They were like, do you know what? Because he's a fit guy who, like, being fit is his profession. His heart's clearly good. It's not that kind of defect. It was just a surprise. He was able to come back relatively quickly.
I don't know if he'll want to play again, but to be able to is an amazing thing. And most guys will, like most alpha like athletes, but that's a scary fucking thing, and that's your life. So if you choose not to, I'm not mad at you at all. But to know that you're healthy enough to play is a blessing.
Yeah, that's why he's that kind of guy, though. Like,
right.
we can't get repeatedly hit in the head because it's terrifying, right? That's why, like, they're what they do. Listening to Chris Sims speak about it is really interesting because obviously Chris Sims
that's probably the closest the NFL had to this, but he didn't find out till after the game.
Yeah, well, his wife came in to say goodbye to him after he lost like 9 pints of blood, is what he was talking about. And as soon as he recovered, he was like, no, I want to go back in. Like, get me back in the game. It's like, you're a crazy dude, man. You're a crazy dude. But, it's good to hear that Hamlin's on the mend.
So now that we know he's getting better, and there is 2 games we'll get to before the show is over, but let's talk about some of the things being tossed around by the NFL for the situation of them. They canceled the game. It's not being made up. That's been made official.
Yeah.
So they've been talking about different ways to do it. I still think win percentage is the easiest way to go and the simplest. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this is a year where you'll hear anybody bitch or moan about whatever seeding they get because of it. But they're talking about, well, let's throw an 8th team in there and get rid of the bye for the 1 seed on both sides. Let's play the AFC championship game in a neutral field. I don't like that. These teams fought to get there.
Yeah.
And now the NFL is saying, this is what really fucks me up. They're not even guaranteeing that the Bills will play the Patriots this weekend.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Cause obviously it's a trauma, but then that really muddles the playoff picture.
I want to say this, but I also want to preface it by saying my opinion does not necessarily Maddie's opinion or anybody else on this channel, because I'm sure some people will not like my take on this. But if the Bills don't feel like they can play, fine. And they need more time, fine. You're out of the playoffs. Take the off season, come back next year, and we'll just bump up whoever else is ready. And I don't mean to sound insensitive, but this is a multi-billion-dollar business, and I get that they might be shook. But what are they going to do? Are they going to push back the playoffs, the Super Bowl? And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just I'm very sensitive to what happened. But what does the NFL do this late in the season?
Yeah, I mean, with the Bills, they're in an interesting position of they're already in the playoffs, and they've already clinched the division, and they've clinched the 3rd seed, right? Like, they're definitely at least the 3rd seed. So I think
it's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd could all go to those top 3 teams.
Yeah. So it seems like if they're, as an organization, decide that they don't want to play, if it's the NFL suggesting that they don't want to play, then that's fucking crazy. But if as an organization they suggest they don't want to play, forfeit the game. And I know it's not the way that it's done. Like, obviously that gives the Patriots a upper hand in because they're still going for the they still can make the playoffs and things like that. And it wouldn't be fair to teams like Jacksonville, Pittsburgh stuff. But
question for you: should their first game back be in the playoffs after something like that too? Also, they're also saying that if Cincinnati and the Bills meet each other in the playoffs, now this isn't the league, this is talking heads, but Florio's pounding the drum for this. If they meet each other in the playoffs, it cannot be in Cincinnati because those players shouldn't have to play each other on that field again. So I don't know. Like, I get the arguments to this kind of stuff, but again, this isn't recreational youth football.
Yeah, I think we're all sat there when this should really be, things like that should really be up to the players. I guess it depends with how you cope with grief. Like, a lot of people would prefer to work and keep their minds off it. Then that's what Chris Sims was saying
today. Yeah, put me back on the field. Yeah,
yeah. Put me back on the field. You got to feel like guys like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, probably those kind of guys, right? And with them clinching the playoffs, it's time to give your second, third stringers a go. That's fine. The NFL playoff thing, the AFC especially, that kind of gets solved if Kansas City win anyway. Like, but I just feel like nobody would gripe if they just
outside
just said,
let's say Kansas City wins and they, just for sake of argument, they're the number 1 seed. That clears up a lot for the NFL. I don't care if you flip a coin for the Bills and the Bengals at this point. And do you think either of those two teams care? I don't think they care. I don't.
No. I also think they're the type of organizations, especially with their quarterbacks, where it's just like, we'll fucking beat you anywhere. So let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just play.
If the players do not want to play, don't force them.
Yeah,
but again, then it muddies everything so much that I feel like if they don't want to play again, then just take the whole season or the off season.
I feel like a lot of this was said before Hamlin started to make a recovery as well. So maybe now Hamlin's made a recovery. That makes everything quite different, doesn't it?
I said this to my wife the other day. I said, the NFL's in a bad situation. If they announce what they're going to do too soon, they look like assholes. If they wait too long, everybody gets pissed off. I said, I think after we hear if we hear a positive update about Hamlin, 24 hours later, the NFL will make their statement on what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think now that Hamlin's fine, well, not fine, obviously, but better. I think now that he's on the mend, I think people will feel more comfortable about going forward with the games the way that they are. With the Bills Cincinnati thing, I think you've got it right. I don't think any of them really care. Kansas City could do them all a favor by winning this weekend. That would just really help everyone. But Kansas City have been the best football team in the AFC Championship this year. I don't think it's fair that they lose because of, they'll lose out because of something that's something to do with them. They have been the best team this year. The Bills have been up and down this year, and the Cincinnati Bengals have been up and down this year. So I think it's fair if the AFC Championship goes to the Chiefs. They get the first seed, and then we go from there.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't care if they flip a coin, they go by win percentage. I don't care if they play rock, paper, scissors seriously, if it's just deciding those two teams, because everybody experienced that on those two teams. So I don't think anybody will be upset or complaining about if you're the second or third seed. I think where it would get rough on the NFL, like we just said, is now if you're Kansas City and you end up not getting the first seed or the second seed because of something, then it makes it more weird. But it's almost like I just want two things. I want them to say he's off the ventilator and the playoffs are starting, and then we can just roll forward.
Yeah. Maybe. No, dude, I like your idea. Just flip a coin. Flip a coin for second and third seed between the Bengals and the Bills. Nobody in that building. Let's make a big
deal about it on TV.
Yeah, right? That'd be sick. That's what they do in cricket.
The Darman, Hamlin, whatever, official toy. Now let's raise more money for charity type thing too. You could do his shit's up to $7 million.
You could do a reward ceremony for the season, televise it, and flip a coin for the second and the third seed between the Bills and the Bengals. What also would be easier if the Bills lost this week or the Bengals lost this week, and then it's just like again, there we go.
And then and let's say the Bengals get the 2nd seed and the Bills get the 3rd seed and the Bengals lose, none of that matters anyway, because now everything is pretty much the 2nd seed is Buffalo.
Yeah, on Florio's point of if the Bills and Cincinnati have to play each other, they can't play in Cincinnati. There's just ask the players. That's a player question. And obviously you're then dealing with the forces of, do they feel obligated to have to play the game? Do they feel all of that? But if you ask grown-up men, professionals, and they say it's okay, then there's nothing really more you can do. If it's not okay, move it. Detroit seems to be the place that Buffalo play their neutral field games. So move it to Detroit.
I was watching, and I agree that's not a problem. But what or even Indy was suggested, right? Because it's such a nice facility and it can host all that stuff easily. But and it's not that far from Cincinnati either. But my thing was, or not mine, my thing was when I was watching TV today, I saw somebody, but I can't remember who. I think it was Chuck Pagano, the old coach of the Colts, made a good point too. He goes, and now we just throw out the weather conditions for home field advantage like they don't matter.
Yeah, I just had the thought as you were saying that it has to be an open stadium because both the Bengals and the Bills play in open stadiums.
How about New York?
Yeah, stick it in. The issue is New York have playoff games this year. Not a home one, though. They won't have a home one because they're in
the
wild
only
card.
way they'd have a home one would be the NFC Championship game if the 7th seed and them seed 1 to
So maybe MetLife. MetLife's a good idea. But then you get the idea if it's too close to Buffalo, since you have to go. But it's not.
But it's not that far from Cincinnati either. And so, but if Buffalo's the number 2 seed, then it wouldn't matter. So maybe you get something closer to Cincinnati. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe Pittsburgh,
or like Foxborough or somewhere like that.
Foxborough, Pittsburgh, teams that are sitting at home. Yeah.
Pittsburgh's not a bad idea actually. If
Cleveland.
That would be weird if they play against a division rival though. Same with Foxborough. Cleveland. Yeah.
Cleveland's like 2 hours from Cincinnati. So if Cincinnati wins, you just play in Cleveland. Both Ohio.
Yeah. Then they'll play in the bigger one, won't they? Where they'll play. Do you know what? They'll have it in a dome because it's two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and that'll be so much fucking fun. That's the reason that they'll have it in a dome. But yeah, or you maybe play it in the place that's hosting the Super Bowl, like a Super Bowl warm-up, get everything moving. You know?
Play it at Ohio State's Horseshoe. It holds more fans, and it's outdoors, and it's only a couple hours away.
Good idea. Yeah, I like that. That's my favorite. There we go. If it becomes a problem, it probably won't.
Well, and Ohio State's set up to handle that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can fit more fans. It'll be a great time. The tailgating will be out of this world because it's set up for that. There you go.
Oh, that's the idea. Yes, that's the one. Play a game in London.
Yeah, you really want to piss off the whole NFL world. Play that game in London.
Yeah. Oh, no, actually, do you know who put on a better show? Munich. Play it in Germany. That'll have way more fun. I'll go watch it if it's in Munich.
Go play in Qatar on the World Cup field.
They're not big enough to host.
I was
kidding.
Not big enough to host I was just trying to strike up that Qatar hate. Like people in the U.S. that don't follow soccer were so mad that Qatar got the World Cup. So
yeah, it's an interesting debate. Definitely for another time. We could do a whole podcast about that.
Right. I was just throwing that in there to poke the bear. You know.
All right. Shall we talk about some of the games that have already happened?
Well, before we do that, I got a quick surprise for everybody, Maddie, because this might not be the longest show we've done this year because we don't have as much. But I got some scenes from an upcoming documentary that will be dropping on Yankee and the Brit on the 13th.
5-10 years from now, they're gonna wish it was American Cosa Nostra. 5-10 years from now, they're gonna miss John Gotti.
And all of a sudden on the news, I'm hearing, Paul Castellano, mob boss, is killed outside Sparks Steakhouse. And I'm thinking like, wow, who could have done this?
Shit, John, this is bigger than killing the fucking president.
Hey, you think I was put in this earth to make them rich and me poor? We're gonna do a hit now. We're gonna do a real hit. We're going back. Yeah. Back to some real in-your-face Cousin Nostra. Out in front on a line. Make them sit back and watch a volcano blow. You with me?
I'm with you, John. All the way to the finish.
Big Paul Castellano, reputed godfather of the Gambino family, was on his way to a Manhattan steakhouse. As he stepped from his black Lincoln, 3 men wearing fur hats and trench coats suddenly appeared, pulled guns, pumped 6 bullets into Castellano and 6 into his top capo, Thomas Bilotti, and then calmly walked away.
The old-time mob bosses, you say, you know, they rule with an iron fist, covered with a velvet glove. Well, Gotti saw no need for the glove. That's what it came down to.
I think a final thought may be a quote from Big Paul Castellano. This life of ours, this is a wonderful life. If you can get through life like this and get away with it, hey, that's great. But it's very unpredictable. There are so many ways you can screw it up. They screwed up in the end.
All right, guys, thanks for checking that out. That is going to be the first 30-minute documentary in a series of documentaries I'm doing for Real Talk on the Yankee and the Brit that premieres January 13th.
Let's go. Like, Jay is becoming a serious documentary guy. Let's give him as much support as we can. Let's all make sure that we're watching that on, was it January the 13th, like you said?
Yep, January,
Awesome.
Friday the 13th. What a better day to drop it than Friday the 13th, the Dapper Don, the rise and fall of John Gotti.
Yeah, when everybody's hiding inside from all the bad luck. That's why you're dropping it then, so that they'll watch it while they're hiding inside. That's the game, right?
Huh? Yeah.
They'll drop. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and the hardest part about these documentaries are getting them down to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Or getting them downloaded is what I found hard about the last one.
Oh, well, yeah, but once I have it, it sends it's such a big file that, like, when I email it to you, it's going to take up 5 gigs, 10 gigs to get it down. But then once it's on YouTube, it's very easy for you all to watch. Nope, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't know which order yet, but I'm going to do the DeConte family, which is the real Sopranos. It's the mob family from New Jersey the Sopranos are based off of. And I am in the works with Iron Mike, the baddest man on the planet.
All right. It's just exciting. I'm very excited to be part of a thing that does actual documentaries now, which is going to be great. We'll have to sort them out about like traveling, or I'm moving to Latvia in a month. So we'll do some about the Soviet Union in Latvia or something.
You're moving there?
Yeah, I'm moving to Latvia next month.
I'm going to get way off track with the sports show, but so are you guys, like, you got to get a visa? Like, what kind of shit you got to do as somebody from England to move to Latvia?
So in 2016, we did this little thing called Brexit. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. But, before then, I would have been able to move there, no visa, just move into a house and just be there and sign up for
like you're moving somewhere else in England. Yeah, you just get
just anywhere. Yeah. So now I have to. So now I get a visa for 90 days. In a period of 6 months, I've used up 65 days. That's across all of the EU. So I've used up 65 days of that right now, but it's all coming back to me like these few months. So this month I get back 30 days, but then I'm moving out there. So I have to in that time I have to get a visa. You can get Latvia is really encouraging people to move there. So you can get some really cool visas like digital nomad visas, which is fun. But I can basically just get one from being Cynthia's partner. It's
Are
a
you a little
really
nervous
easy
being
path.
that close to Ukraine?
No, because it's part of NATO, so I'll be totally fine.
Yeah,
I'd be
that's a
more
good
nervous
point.
if I was in like.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
don't know,
point.
like-
All right. I don't want to get all political on the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
I was just curious, something that crossed my mind. So we got 2 Saturday games, though. We got the Chiefs at the Raiders, which is the Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite in Vegas. Dude, the Chiefs will win this game, but give me the Raiders in the 9.5 because Stiddy looked pretty fucking good because he knows that system and there's weapons on that team.
Yeah, definitely give me the Raiders plus the 9.5. That's crazy. The Chiefs against. Can we talk a little bit about how decent the Broncos looked last week? I mean, the Broncos actually looked pretty good. And I'm right. Nathaniel Hackett seemed to have been the problem, so that's good. And positive for them going forward. But how much of that was the Chiefs kind of not playing too well? Will they let their feet off the pedal? The past few years, they've lost the last game of the season because they're so good most of the time that they're already in. With the first seed debacle that's going on, like, will they play their stronger players? Let's see. We'll find out if they basically clinch the first seed or not. But the Raiders look so good against the 49ers, man. Stitty. It looks like
Is
it
that
looks
not
like
the
Josh
best nickname for Jared Stidham? I don't know who gave him Stiddy, but I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah, it looks like Josh McDaniels has created a offense which is very, very quarterback friendly as long as you can read it. Like, if you
Right.
know offense in and out, if you can read it, it's the same as Kyle Shanahan's. Like, it's incredibly quarterback friendly. Derek Carr couldn't read it, wasn't going too well for him. Jared Stidham, however, was reading it perfectly. It all of a sudden meant that you could see that there'd been wide receivers open at the Raiders the entire time. But unfortunately, they didn't get it done again. Like, let's remember, Derek Carr did get them into winning positions on several occasions this year, and they lost from that position. They did the same thing. This was against a lot better team. I'm going to take Chiefs will win. Give me the 9.5 though. They look good. And TJ Watt said that Josh Jacobs is the best running back that he's ever seen.
Dude's balling.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty crazy thing to say from a guy as good as TJ Watt.
And think about this. They didn't even pick up his 5th-year option, so he's a free agent.
Yeah. Like, they're going to have to play him they're going to have to pay him a serious bag.
I don't know if they'll pay him because McDaniels comes from the Belichick tree where they just do running back by committee. They don't have the superstar running back.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of teams. Basically, somebody's going to pay that dude a serious fucking bag.
His middle name is now Cha-Ching.
Yeah. That he's got some serious fucking money coming his way. It's
And if you're a team who's not really great, maybe you overpay him just to get asses in the seats.
Bears. It's a great fit for the Bears.
Could you imagine
the run game?
Right, like they can do the RPOs and like Fields still can't throw. He can only hit open receivers, but I'm still not trying to shit on him. But even his coaches won't let him throw in the red zone unless it's 3rd down.
Yeah, he threw basically they got so far behind last week. I think he threw for something like 21 attempts and completed 9 and got sacked. He did get sacked a lot, but that's holding on to the ball and not reading it right.
And I don't know if it's him because that team is shit.
Yeah. Like, it's not like he's got receivers that are making any separation either. He's the most difficult evaluation in the NFL right now as to whether he's the guy.
He is the most
athletic
dude I have ever seen play quarterback.
He could be the best running quarterback we've seen in the NFL.
Oh, he already is. And that's no shot at Lamar or Michael Vick. But, like, this dude does things, and he's fast, and he's athletic, or his athleticism, he can cut on a dime. But he's killing me, and I still believe it's 100% mechanics in his fucking throwing motion. And I really wish somebody would just lock him down for the whole offseason and teach him how to throw the ball correctly.
Just throw lower. Like, just aim lower. Like, that's his mechanic seems to push it high, which is the most fucking dangerous.
Here's the
as
thing,
well.
too. So you brought up CJ Stroud to me a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I've been watching the playoffs and that kind of thing. Rough. I hate Ohio State, but rough loss. Okay. Stroud's the one guy. I'm like, he looks like he can play in the NFL, but every receiver's so fucking wide open. I don't know if he can throw either.
Yeah, he's not fucking Caleb Williams.
But you know what I mean?
Like,
I don't know
love
if he
CJ
can throw
Stroud.
I don't know if he can throw to an open NFL receiver, because open in the NFL is a foot.
Yeah.
He might be able to. I just don't know, because those Ohio State receivers get so wide open. I don't know what to think about CJ Stroud.
Yeah. And I think the main thing when you're evaluating Justin Fields, and especially if he's with Josh Jacobs, is he has an incredibly high floor. Like, when you can run like he does, his floor is wildly high.
He's got an amazing ceiling if you could teach him how to throw the fucking thing.
Yeah, of course. So all of his ceiling depends on the ability to throw the ball.
I
his
don't need you
length of career as well.
I don't need you to be Patrick Mahomes, but if you could be Baker Mayfield for me, I'd be a happy guy with your throwing.
Yeah, if he can make those mid-range throws, like, because the short options are going to be cut out because they're trying to stop the run anyway. So like the short's going to be that. If he can make those 15 to 20 yard throws, he's going to be an elite NFL player.
He has problem when he's throwing over a linebacker.
Yeah. Because the weird thing is he has, like, his deep ball is not bad. Like, he has the arm to make a deep. It's almost like he's been given permission to let that fucker rip. And like the deep ball is fine. Like, he makes some wildly good deep throws, but with the mid range, it's like it's in between where he's got to do a little bit of finesse and got to zip it in sometimes, and it just feels like he doesn't quite have that read. If you put Josh Jacobs there, that backfield becomes terrifying. If you add to that some first round wide receivers, which they're going to have, that basically they've got a ridiculous amount of draft picks. They've got 2 in the first round. One of them looks like it's going to be the second overall pick.
They have to have huge cap money, I would think, too.
They do. They have the most cap money in the NFL. It's like, it's crazy as well. It's like over 100 million or something. It's absolutely insane amount. But yeah, so if you have like a zippy wide receiver coming out of Ohio State and then Chase Claypool on the outside, like, you have a lot of variety there. They didn't show that they had any ability against the Detroit Lions, however. But if you put Josh Jacobs in there, that thing's going to be fucking crazy.
Yeah, and their tight end room isn't great, or isn't bad, but you could upgrade.
Cole Kmet's good.
Yeah,
he has a real good connection with Cole Kmet.
Right, but you could upgrade and give him more like the Lamar, 2 tight ends that can catch, that kind of thing. They can block too, so makes a lot of, like, they should really start developing more of a Lamar type offense for Justin Fields. But
so the interesting thing is whether they go to make Justin Fields look really, really good and create this stellar offense, or whether they go to solidify the defense so that he'll always be playing from in front or tied. Like, because if he's playing in front, like, you can just run the ball and he'll just be magic. You don't really need to do anything else.
I think for them to win, they have to figure out how to do both.
Yeah, if you just juggernaut the offense, though, that'd just be so much more fun to watch. Like, the Bears have been dull to watch for years. Like, why not just make them fun to watch and competitive in games first, while you're growing Justin Fields, and then you can work on the defense, because defensive plays are cheaper anyway.
All right. So, Maddie, you took the Raiders plus the points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chiefs to win, Raiders plus the points.
Yeah, but that's on the betting line. All we need to do is the Raiders and the points. And then, you know.
The Chiefs have been awful against the spread.
Every time I say the Chiefs are going to win, they lose too. So I should probably just shut up so the NFL doesn't have a big debacle on their hands.
Yeah, the Chiefs against the big spreads this season have have not been good. Like they had that 12.5 against Denver.
The best thing that happened to the Raiders was they played that well and lost.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You
Because they
look
get the
great
higher pick,
with
right?
Stidham, but then you pick is still like, yeah, but you look great. So your fans got something to be excited about.
Is Stitty the guy, or are they looking for other options?
I think there's a few guys they would take, right? Like if Brady's available, a guy like Rodgers, if you can upgrade. But I don't think you make a move for Baker or any of those kind of guys if Stidham looks that good again this week. I think if he looks like shit, then all that goes out the window.
But Jimmy G's there. Jimmy G or Stitty. Because Jimmy G grew up in
an upgrade, right? Like if he plays good again.
I don't know.
If you're looking for your future either way. If you get Jimmy G or you play Stidham, you're looking for your future.
Yeah, I guess if you play Stidham, you have a much lower contract that you can work your entire. Like that offense should really be set. Maybe an offensive line in the draft, but like.
And if they do it that way, they can go from Stidham's cheap contract to a rookie contract of their next quarterback.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're going to be drafting high, so they can like pick Levi's. What's his name?
Levis.
I kept seeing Levi Jeans image in my head. Is it Will? Will Levis? Is that
Will
it?
Levis, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I take Will Levis.
Know, something like that. I mean, and then you can develop them behind Stidham for a year or two, let them learn that McDaniel system. And
yeah. Is it Duggan who plays for TCU? He looked fun. He looked like he'd be like a fun toy to just put in an offense. Like he looked like a 49ers quarterback, you know what I mean? Where it's just like he'll run like some crazy shit, but most of the time it's like pretty simple throws.
I believe in the Ron Wolf theory, and I never thought I'd agree with an ex-Packer GM, but I believe in the Ron Wolf theory of, let's say, an old Raiders GM. Every 2 to 3 years, a team should be drafting a late-round quarterback.
Yeah, I like that.
Just to see, you might hit on somebody.
Brock Purdy. They drafted two quarterbacks. Yeah, obviously Tom Brady, but
I mean, what's late round? Yeah. So Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott. It doesn't have to be 6th or 7th, but if you see a quarterback in later rounds and you think he might be something, take him every couple of years and see what happens.
Yeah, Dak Prescott doesn't really fit into that because we're moving on from quarterback anyway. It's just we didn't get the quarterbacks that we wanted in the second round. So it wasn't like just throwing the pick.
Saying he's still a fourth round pick, so it's still a flyer, right? Because how many first round quarterbacks don't make the NFL, let alone fourth round picks? Mm-hmm. But you take that chance every few years and see if you hit. Like I like that train of thought. Just draft a late round quarterback every couple of years.
Yeah, I like that too. And like guys that you can see can run a system. That's what you should be looking for at that point. Like you should be looking for your perennial backup quarterback.
Every NFL coach, and they should think this, thinks, well, he's really talented. I can fix all the shit that's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Right? So, and they should feel that way. They're alpha coaches. I get that. But that's what you do. You look at traits and then go, hey, if this kid's got the it factor, we can fix everything else.
Yeah, but you don't even need to do that when you're looking for those late round picks. Like if you look for those late round picks, then you just say he could be my backup quarterback for the next 15 years because he's able to run my system. He can work everything out that I need and he'll be great in the locker room. Like guys like that, like that's a guy that you want in those later round picks, right?
Yeah. The thing is there's so many shitty backup quarterbacks in the NFL because the coaches use them as another coach. So you have to be able to fill that role too.
Yeah. They'll be fine, you know? Yeah.
Oh, I just took my fault. All right. So let's move on to the Texans at the Jags with playoff implications. The NFL fucking screwed the pooch on this one because they were blowing Rodgers and the Packers. They put them at 7-20, which that game could be meaningless for Detroit, which throws out the whole, we're going to do the schedule to make fair play. Mm-hmm. This should have been the 7:00 game. Yep. This should have been it. This should have been the prime time. Let's end the week. Prime time game on Sunday, but they didn't. Titans, Jags. Jags are favored by 6.5 at home.
That's big. That's like a big point spread,
I
right?
think it's because the Titans are on their third string quarterback, who looked pretty well. Dobbs
Yeah,
looked pretty good
he looked
playing.
decent. He looked decent against the Cowboys. Like the Cowboys are a decent offense, and he looked good, right? That's not a
Yeah, I'm not
well,
saying like
looking
we
all right.
found something, they found something where they didn't. But for a kid who's been in the league for like 5 or 6 years and finally got to play, I was impressed. Didn't he throw for almost 300 yards or something? Like, yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah, yes, he looks like the kind of guy that you pick up with a late round who can run a system and like knows where the ball needs to be. Like that's the kind of guy
And
that
that's what the Titans
you want
need.
there. Yeah, definitely. Like what they need is just a good quarterback to come back in general. But that's what they need. That's what they need right now. Is Derrick Henry playing? Let me check. Yeah, Derrick Henry's playing. So Derrick Henry rested last week and is playing this week. With Derrick Henry back, it just makes that point spread seem like a lot. Like it just seems like the Titans running game will be on fire. So Dobbs, who's the backup quarterback, threw for a decent amount of yardage, played really well without Derrick Henry. So what are you doing here when it's 6.5? Now, the Jags, even if Ryan Tannehill was here, I'd still have the Jags as favorites. The Jags are on the up. The Titans are coming down. The offensive line of the Titans is injured absolutely everywhere. So that's not going to help either. The Jags are definitely going to win this game, but I can't see them winning by 6.5 in what is basically a playoff game right now. Give me the Titans and the points.
Give me the Jags.
Yeah, Jags to cover the spread.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to point this out. Now we don't have to talk about the game, something to watch. The 7.5 point spread on the Vikings being favored by 7.5 points at Chicago I don't know this for a fact, but might be the biggest point spread the Vikings had all year so far.
Yeah. I don't even think that's a terrible bet. Like to
well, it's
bet
not.
the
And
Bears
Fields
on
isn't playing. It's Nathan Peterman.
Yeah, but do the Vikings have any stake in the game? Like you guys
we
are
can still be the 2 seed.
Oh, you can still be the 2. Right, okay.
Yeah, if 49ers lose and we win, we're the 2.
Not if we win and the Eagles lose.
The Eagles are not going to lose.
I'm banking on it.
Then you guys would be the 1 and we'd be the 2.
So
you have a tiebreaker on us.
Yeah, if the Eagles
lose,
the 49ers win. So the 49ers win, so it doesn't make any difference. Then we're
right. So if the Eagles lose and the 49ers lose, and you or the Cowboys and Vikings both win, then you're 1 and we're 2.
You're still the 2. Right, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad that we got that cleared up. But that could be interesting. Like I'd probably put a bet on that, to be honest. Like I'd probably take the Bears to cover the spread in that one. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure why. I just feel like the Vikings will show up. It's a divisional game, but I feel like they'll rest a lot of players. Like quite famous for having bad injuries, right?
And our right tackle's out for the whole playoffs, but Brian O'Neill. But only bright spot to that game against the Packers was Nick Muse looked good as a backup quarterback.
Yeah, he looked okay.
For a backup quarterback to come in at the end of the game, he moved the ball. He got him a couple scores. I was like, I didn't know how this kid would ever play if he went in. So now if something happened, he's got to come in for a series. I'm not as nervous as I would have been. It's the only bright spot of that whole game.
It's a shame that Kellen Mond wasn't there to pick up the
Well, I have to believe if Zimmer hated him, plus Kevin O'Connell didn't like him, there was probably something that shouldn't have been there, right? I get if Zimmer didn't like him as a defensive coach and O'Connell came in and said, I can work with this kid, but he was one of the first cuts.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't good enough for the NFL.
I feel like they watched him play in the OTAs and were like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, Chris Sims' evaluation of that quarterback draft did not go well. He had Zach Wilson as the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, but the only guy that looks good right now is Fuck. Jags.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Thank you. I don't know why I went space. Like
Justin
my brain-
Fields.
He can't throw. He's got like 3 wins this year, or 4 wins, whatever it is.
Yeah, on a shitty team. He has an incredibly high ceiling. There is a lot of potential to Justin Fields.
Okay, so like you do realize that Wilson and like fucking Davis Mills could still end up be better than Justin Fields, right? Because they both can throw.
Right. But
You
Justin
can't win in
Fields'
the NFL
floor
if you
is so...
can't throw.
Yeah, but Justin Fields' floor is so high.
No, but he's this guy. This is for me. He's this guy that is going to make spectacular fucking plays with his legs, and you're still going to be less than 500 every year.
If you can't fix it around it. Do you know what? Actually, I did have this. I did have this thought about Justin Fields today, actually, while I was walking around town. Justin Fields is basically what the media said Lamar Jackson was in his first year.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Just not a compliment.
Exactly what some of the talking heads projected that Lamar would be. You're right.
Yeah. Well, he was in his first year. But yeah, to say that Fields doesn't look good, I think is a bit harsh. But yeah,
He'll make
it's a shame he's not playing.
Wow plays. But if you can't throw, you can't win.
Yeah. Well, Zach Wilson can't throw. Like Zach Wilson has.
No, he's got all the talent. There's something in that fuck wrong with that kid. But okay, that's neither.
Yeah.
Like that's different.
Davis Mills is a backup quarterback.
Sam Darnold will win the Bears more games than Justin Fields.
Do you know what? I'm so surprised to hear you say that. That's a crazy thing for you specifically to say.
He can throw at least. He doesn't make the best decisions, but at least he can throw.
Do you know, I disagree on the fact that Justin Fields can't throw. Like, Justin Fields has all the arm talent in the world. He has all the arm talent in the world.
He's got arm strength.
Yeah, the accuracy.
Nothing else.
Not good.
Nothing else. He's got the strength. But like my neighbor kid can throw the ball a country mile. It doesn't mean that he's just like
Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Yeah,
over the mountains. But
it's just that I don't know. Like, and part of me hopes I'm wrong because I never want these guys to fail. But part of me hopes I'm right because he plays for the Bears and that's in my division.
And he played for Ohio State.
Yeah, I get over that pretty quickly. Once you're drafted, I can be like, I don't hold Ohio State against you, but I will point out and I know people are going to go, Joe Burrow was an Ohio State quarterback. Okay, look, the dude had to transfer to play because Ohio State did not evaluate what they had.
Yeah.
So
he's LSU.
Yes. And so besides a quarterback that transferred, they don't have really successful quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah. But for their careers, at this point, Justin Fields should have been drafted as the number 2 quarterback in the NFL. For their careers at this point.
But he still was drafted too early.
That's no.
He's not a fucking top 15 player in an NFL draft. He's not.
Do you know who we've forgotten, actually? Mac Jones.
I'd take Mac Jones over Fields in a heartbeat.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I totally forgot that Mac Jones was in that draft.
That's because there's so much crazy shit with him and Belichick.
Yeah, right. But Mac Jones on the Jets would be a great fit. Not Mac Jones, sorry. Justin Fields on the Jets would be a great fit. Justin Fields on the Jets would be an awesome fit. Good defense, run heavy offense.
You're going to think I'm just saying this. I would take Mike White over fucking Justin Fields.
That's not true. No, you wouldn't.
Yes, look at his games.
Wouldn't.
He has way better completions. He throws for around 300 yards every game. Like, yes, I would.
But they look like they were nailed on to be a playoff team until like their quarterback controversy happens in New York.
Mike White doesn't get hurt and they win those games.
All right. I totally disagree. I think Justin Fields in that offense would be unbelievable.
Dude, and I'm not even kidding. I would take Brock Purdy. He can throw. He proved to me he can throw. I need a quarterback. that can throw. I don't. That's just me. Maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm old and whatever. But like, I will take a quarterback that can throw over a quarterback that can run any day. You want to give me one that can do both? I'm a really happy guy. But give me Brady in the pocket over Justin Fields' legs any day.
Yeah.
So you look at the Vikings. What good is he? What good are all of our receivers with Justin Fields?
Oh, no. Mac Jones, like, if we were to redraft it again and the Vikings were taking second overall. Yeah. Well, you would take Mac Jones. If we were redrafting that and the Vikings were sat at second, you would take Mac Jones over Justin Fields. Like, that makes a lot of sense.
We drafted him where he was drafted.
Yeah. Fine. Right. Okay. Like, second quarterback off the board.
We crushed the Patriots for process. Doing it. Even if you did it right, you were still wrong, right? Like, we crushed the Patriots for that.
Yeah. With a quarterback, I sometimes just tend to throw that out the window.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, because if you need a quarterback, you go get him. But then you take the risk of drafting Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes. When you force a pick, I'm just saying, like, you take
that's just bad evaluation. That's terrible. The
Bears got tricked into moving up one spot for Mitch Trubisky, which nobody would have took in the top 20.
Yeah. Justin Fields' completion percentage is 60%. I didn't quite realize how low it was from that.
And think about this. Back in Bill Parcells' days, he used to say, if it's not 68% or better, I don't want him. In the NFL, dude, middle of the road guys are throwing 68%. So you need to be around 68 to 70% just to be a middle of the road quarterback in the NFL.
Right. There's been a lot of drops this year in that Bears team as well. Maybe not enough to make up 8% of your completion percentage, but no separation.
What's Aaron Rodgers' completion percentage? Because Christian Watson and Dobbs dropped every ball for the first game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so it happens to every quarterback. Like, so I know Dak's getting beat up for interceptions because people are like, half of them were deflections.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, half of Aaron Rodgers were deflections too.
Yeah, I don't know. The ones that they're picking out for Dak is the ones
that are just so fucking at the worst possible time, and they're blatantly.
Yeah, like that's like Dak's deflections are like big plays, like third downs, fourth quarters.
That's what I'm saying. Like it stands out, like overtime. Or did the Jags go to overtime with you, or did they get that pick at the fourth quarter?
No,
I think it was the fourth quarter. End of the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers' completion percentage. For some reason, it only shows me his completion percentage on ESPN against the NFC.
And I bet you it's one of the worst he's had in his career this year.
It's 66%. So it's not like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's still better, and
he had
a ton of drops too. Like,
yeah. I just like Justin Fields is just an impossible evaluation. It's not a hill that I want to die on. Like,
no, but if you like him, you like him, and if you don't like his, like, I think he's exciting, and I like watching him play as long as it's not against the Vikings, right? Like, I like watching him play, but.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him on my team. I don't. And that's how I'm judging the quarterback. I do not want him on my team.
I just think you could put him in so many. Like, if you put him
take him over Dak?
No, because Dak brings so much more. That's a weapons thing. Yeah. It's basically, it's a thing where, like, if you have a shit ton of weapons and a really good roster, what you don't want Justin Fields. If you don't, if your weapon is Justin Fields, right? So Justin Fields is the Chicago Bears' only weapon. Like, that's like the Baltimore Ravens. Like, Lamar Jackson has Mark Andrews. Yes, like he can throw to Mark Andrews. Like, that's his star weapon. Like, Justin Fields has no weapons. He is the weapon. Well, he has Cole Kmet.
But, okay, so You're saying he only throws to what most teams have one go-to guy that gets the majority of the balls. Lamar does spread the ball around. It's not like he just throws.
Oh yeah. I meant like if you comparing
They
Lamar
got
Jackson
the
to
Bears
Justin
got a
Fields.
good running back. They got a good receiver. They got a good tight end.
Who's their good receiver?
They just traded for Claypool.
Right. Okay. Yes. Right. He's not like. It's the separation issue with Claypool, though, isn't it? It's
So,
not
but
like
he's
he's
got
getting
the
wild
same. So
separation.
then he's pretty much got the same weapons as Lamar.
Right. Comparing Mark Andrews to Cole Kmet is wild. But then also Rashad Bateman and Chase Claypool.
I was going to say Claypool's better than their receiver. So, I think Fields gets a pass from a lot of people is what I think. And then the people who think that I'm saying that think I'm way too hard on Justin Fields.
I think there's where I am is he's an impossible valuation with the system that he's in at the moment. And I don't believe that. Like, it's a weird thing where this idea whether wins are a quarterback statistic or not. Like, I'm not 100. Like, I don't entirely agree that wins are a quarterback statistic.
Not always, but literally the teams with good quarterbacks get wins. Right?
Yeah.
So
I think on winning, it's a weird thing.
Position.
It's a weird thing where on winning teams, it becomes a quarterback statistic. And on losing teams, it's not always a quarterback statistic.
Like, well, if you're Kirk Cousins, it's always your statistic if you lose, but not if you win.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins, which is strange because Kirk Cousins you guys are 11-0. Right. Let's quickly talk about that. You guys are the craziest team in the NFL right now. You're 11-0 in close games, or you just get fucking blown out. There's no in between.
I heard an a fucking talking head on TV literally say Kirk Cousins gets bailed out by his kicker. Bro, our kicker has missed so many fucking kicks this year. 1.
Yeah.
2, who gets him in fucking range to kick the fucking ball?
He's not kicking him from 80 yards out, is he?
Jeez.
Yeah. How many times who was the Indianapolis kicker? Well,
somebody just said yesterday or the day before the Vikings either are going to win the Super Bowl or lose a playoff game by 40.
Yeah, that's what's realistically going to happen. It just feels it's so strange that it's mind-boggling that you guys either win or you get blown out.
We decide to lose.
Yeah, you just go for it, you know.
Fuck yeah, no half-ass.
Go for it. Just go for it. It's that nice Midwestern hospitality, you know. It's like, we'll make you look. You guys had people thinking that the Cowboys were, what were we, a 25% chance to get to the Super Bowl after we played you. Top in the NFL.
Minus the scores, because once it all those games, for some reason, once it goes downhill, it's that weird snowball effect.
Yeah.
Can we agree that there's a good chance that every one of those losses were every one but one of those losses is to a playoff team?
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah. Also, injuries just seem injuries just seem to get in your way.
Played 8 top 10 defenses and went 6-2. Like, there's something, but you're right. They're the most, like, I don't know what to think about team. Like, it's weird when they get behind. I think to myself, well, if they score, we're still going to win this. If we get down many more, we're going to lose because it's going to snowball. It's a weird thing.
It wasn't a good look on Justin Jefferson the last game.
He was pissed. He was pissed. Jair talked all that shit. He got doubled and tripled. Jair shut him down. Jair did the gritty in front of him. Like, they got in his head.
Yeah, that was right. Like, Jair Alexander's there, like, doing the gritty and stuff. Like, he's just locked him down.
It was a good gritty, though.
Yeah. It just looked like he was just like, oh my God, you've locked him down on one-on-one coverage in the end zone. No, it was it was midfield, and he had safety help over the top and had to throw over the top of a linebacker to get it in there.
They got in Justin's head because he's such an emotional player. I got no problem with it.
That's what I was meaning by, like, it wasn't a good look. Not that he didn't get held, like, he got held for yards. It was just like, he should have been called for a penalty on hitting the ref with his helmet, technically.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get fucking suspended.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. He was lucky he didn't get ejected. It was more kind of like the referee kind of run into the zone where the helmet
I
was
get
coming
it,
down.
but like I was a little nervous the NFL was going to crack the
Yeah, me
whip.
too. Me too.
It's
He did well
like,
to hold on to his helmet there because he was like
and
flinging that into the
Justin
floor.
wanted that fucking record. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it didn't help either. But I'm not worried about Justin not being in the right headspace going into the playoffs.
Oh no, me neither. I don't think it'll carry over. It's just like I think now teams are going to go out of their way to try and frustrate him,
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
and we'll see what happens. If it because like it just it. Do you know what? It didn't actually look like it was affecting him too much in terms of like catching the ball or running his routes or anything. It just looked like he was generally like it looked like he could have punched somebody. If they just
And
kept
those
going, like
players-
he would have got himself ejected.
Imagine being those players. How do you like, okay, yes, we have 12 wins, but these losses are rough. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, you go back to the fact that you're 11-0 in every short space game.
and you go out
like,
and you put a fucking foot on the Bears' neck this week and feel better going into the playoffs.
yeah, 100%. Go run for 250 yards and get Justin Jefferson some sort of crazy record.
And I am the world's biggest 49ers fan this week.
Yeah,
I want the
because you
three
don't want to see them. Yeah, who do you play if you get the 3?
Giants.
Giants. Oh yeah, yeah. We've got the
So
Bucks.
did I tell you
Unless
my
we had the 1.
did I tell you how like my perfect world scenario is 3 seed Giants at Minnesota. Minnesota wins. Green Bay goes to San Francisco, upsets the 49ers.
Yeah,
Then they go to Philly, upset Philly. We play Tampa because they beat you at home, send Tampa home, and then we play Green Bay in the NFC Championship game in Minnesota.
yeah. There's so many guys on like the Dallas Cowboys chats right now who don't want the 1 seed. They're like, if we get the 1 seed, then we have like this route, and it's not the best route to the play. And it's like, I'd always rather play 2 games than 3. What the
I
fuck
was
are you
just going to
talking
say
about?
you get a bye and you have one
Like-
less game to worry
He's
about.
like, we don't want to buy. We'll come off cold. Like we'll play cold. The last time we had a buy was when we were in the 13-3 season. And it's like,
That
yes,
argument
but you
makes
still play
sense to me.
2.
But I still would rather play 2 games than 3.
I'd always rather play 2. And that they're basically comparing it to the 2016 season where we went 13-3 and saying we came off the bye and then just got walked by the Rams running on us for 250. Dak Prescott and
game is
Ezekiel
ever-
Elliott aren't rookies now. Like we're experienced. They're a much more experienced team now than they were then.
No game is ever the same. No season is ever the same. And
Yeah.
that's case in point when 2 teams split. We walked on Green Bay in the first game. They slapped the shit out of us last week. Like you just no 2 games are the same, no 2 seasons. I don't know how people correlate all that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I've never wanted to not watch the Cowboys more than in the NFC wild card game. That'd be great. I get a week off from watching the Cowboys for the NFC wild card game.
And I still think you guys are going to win, but you're playing Tom fucking Brady, so you never know.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I fucking hate us against the Buccaneers. Like,
So
we're
that
just
dude
not
must just
great.
be assuming that you're going to walk the Bucks with no problem.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, well we'll smash the Bucks and then we'll go. Yeah, and it's like, right, okay, then we go to Philly, in Philly. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't understand that argument because 1, I never want to play Tom Brady in the playoffs, and 2, if I only have to play 2 games to get to the Super Bowl instead of 3, why wouldn't you want the
Yeah, it's
path
like
of
you've
least
got
resistance?
it's surreal. Like he's an absolute fucking whelp. Like idiot.
It's weird though. Like some of the worst things said about the Vikings are in Vikings groups.
Yeah, like I tend to ignore a lot of that. There's a lot of secret 49ers fans in Cowboys groups. A lot. Like,
Oh yeah,
loads.
there's some Bears fans trolling.
Like
the
loads.
Vikings.
So I ignore a lot of that shit. But when it's just stupid stuff like that, I'm just like, what are you doing? I would love to just get them on the show and just talk to them about what the fuck they're talking about.
See, and with my argument makes more sense than the other guys from the 2 to the 3. Just
Yeah,
because I don't want to see Green Bay again right away. I just don't want to do it right away.
Yeah. You'd still rather have the first seed.
Right.
Obviously, if it was possible.
Now, if you told me the Seahawks were going to make the playoffs, I'd rather have the 2 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends whether you think the Packers are going to win.
The Packers right away.
Yeah, I'd play the Packers. I'd take them. Aaron Rodgers fucking loves playing against us, though. I hate that guy. Like, yeah,
yeah,
he loves it. He loves playing against us in Texas as well. Like, it's crazy. Like, he loves playing against us at AT&T. It's wild.
Well, there's two ways to look at that Brady stat from the Cowboys, where the Cowboys have never beat Tom Brady. One is the Cowboys have never beat Tom Brady, so it's bad. Or two, everything has to come to an end at some point.
Yeah. They also haven't played, like, that's a fucking crazy stat, but they haven't played them that, they haven't played Tom Brady that many times.
No, but it's always fun to say shit like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
my parents owned
horrible.
a bar growing up, and there was a sign on my dad's bar that used to say, "Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story."
Yeah, 100%. I agree. But we came close last season, and we should have beaten them this year, but like our offense just didn't have anything going whatsoever.
You played them week 1, right?
We played them week 1 when
I always say you can't put zero stock into a week 1 game. I was happy to get the win against the Packers. I told you before they let the schedule out, I want the Packers week 1.
Mm-hmm.
We got them week 1, which was great because you don't give those quarterbacks a chance to even get comfortable with their team. Now there's even less preseason games. So like it's like you can't tell what a team is in week 1.
Yeah, there's no way. And the Buccaneers look like such a good matchup for us on paper. Like we look like a good matchup against the Buccaneers, apart from the fact that somebody's got to cover Mike Evans and Tom Brady will have his fun with Trayvon Diggs, convincing him that he's going to throw an interception, and then we'll just launch it over the top.
He might throw him 1 or 2. I seen that. Like you've been watching him this year. Tom might throw him 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's just without Antonio Brown. I never thought I'd miss Antonio Brown so much in the secondary.
If it's within 7 with less than 3 minutes to go and Tom gets the ball in his hands, you're going home.
Yeah, 100%. Like 100%, I agree. Also, just to end on this, Calvin Joseph is the worst football player I've ever seen in my entire life.
Hey, Xavier Rhodes just got cut if you guys need to pick him up.
Yeah, you bring him. Like, fuck it. I don't care who it is.
Let's bring back all the Vikings groups because some people were like, bring him back. And they were like, Rhodes closed. Like, no, we don't want him now.
I'll take anyone. Like, I'll take anyone to play behind to just get rid of Calvin Joseph. Like, he was bad on special teams. They've now taken him off the pitch playing corner. Now he's no longer a corner. He's now a special teams player. Great use of his 2nd round pick. And he's shit at that as well. He gave away 2 penalties whilst playing special teams. The guy's incredible.
Well, since you want to shit on him for your Cowboy fans, Vikings fans, Duke Shelley, 86% PFF grade. We may have found a lockdown corner. So keep an eye on that. Duke Shelley's been fucking balling, and nobody knows who he is because he's only playing because of injury.
Yeah. Also, our positives in our secondary. 5th round pick, Bland, has looked unbelievable. He's got like 5 picks.
Yeah, Maddie hit me with he's not very bland.
Hey.
No, but it's nice. It's fun when you get to see these younger guys get in there, get their opportunity, and they ball out. And nobody knows who like most of these guys are unless you're a fan of the team. But it's exciting when you see these younger guys and you're like, dude, we may have found something in a guy that we didn't even expect to make the roster.
Yeah. The Cowboys secondary is weird. It's like you've got Trayvon Diggs and Bland picking everybody off everywhere, but if you just throw to the other side of the field, then it's free touchdown every time. Free pass interference, free touchdown. There you go. Walk in. There's not really much Micah Parsons can do about that.
I did watch Chris Sims once say, I hear Cowboys fans keep complaining about the holding penalties called on them. He's like, there should have been twice as many holding penalties called on you this year.
Yeah.
So I started laughing.
Chris Sims will always find a way to slag off the Cowboys, though. I'm not 100% sure whether I don't trust anything he says about the Cowboys. He's a Giants fan, so he obviously hates
Well,
us.
and he likes to take shots at the Vikings because of Florio. So
Yeah, just take what he says about pinch of salt. I trust him in other things, but fuck me, these
well,
Cowboys.
before we get out of here, for the record, Florio's not a real Vikings fan.
Yeah, he's a Vikings fan now for the joke rather than for the.
He's in it. He's in it for the name of the fan. Like, he's not a fan of the team, and you can tell. And actually, I think Florio likes to take shots at him and try to get inner turmoil going on in the team more than he likes them.
Yeah. I think Florio's a weird guy, but I'm not even 100% sure that he's a massive fan of football. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
actually, that's why it's funny, because I do.
Yeah, I think he might be a massive fan of the stories that surround football, like the soap opera of football, rather than watching a game of football.
No, I got a good perfect example. So I have friends who watch WWE,
mm-hmm.
and if I walk into one of their houses and people are arguing, right? Like the storyline, they got the mic in their hand, I'm locked in. Like, damn, talking shit to each other. Soon as they start wrestling, I'm like, I'm out. So I like the drama, the arguments, the lead up. As soon as you start the wrestling, I don't care about that. That might be Florio with football.
Yeah, that I think that is Florio with football. That's why him and Chris Sims are two really good foils for each other, because Chris Sims isn't about the drama. Like, Chris Sims is like watches that fucking game and is like wired to every single bit of tape. But Florio, like, I don't think he's a big fan.
There are a lot of conversations about Jim Harbaugh coming back to the NFL, and Sims hates him so bad and lets it be known that I love every time Harbaugh comes up, he goes, I don't like him as a person.
Yeah, he's not even.
He's got to throw it out there every time.
He doesn't even fucking try to like hide the fact.
Something happened when Chris interviewed him.
Yeah, he just walked off. Like, Harbaugh just left.
Yeah,
and he never told Chris why. He just left, and hasn't ever done an interview with him since either.
That's the most Jim Harbaugh shit ever, though.
Yeah, he's coming to Indy apparently.
Well, it would be smart. He's in the Ring of Honor after only playing there for 4 years.
Yeah. It makes a good, I think Indy's a good place for him. Like, a good.
I think he took him to the AFC Championship game, and now he's in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I wouldn't, what are the other teams that's open? Carolina, probably not the right culture there.
Florio said that he heard that he'd take the Denver job because he can fix Russell Wilson.
Right, I was just about to say that I think the Denver job is an awful idea for him because of Russell Wilson. I don't know whether imagine how intense a locker room with Harbaugh and Russell Wilson would be.
Harbaugh wouldn't let Russell Wilson do any diva shit, though, so he would hold him accountable. So the rest of the locker room, I think, would respect that. How would Russell Wilson take it, I guess, is the question.
Right, but is it the diva shit with Russell Wilson, or is it the cringy ass
I'm
a
hard worker shit to me, shit? Like you're almost throwing it in everybody's face, but
yeah,
however you want to put it, that is the cringy diva shit to me.
Yeah, right. Okay, I just think Russell Wilson and John Harbaugh might be two of the cringiest people alive. So I just don't know whether putting them two in.
Maybe they'd be perfect together because of that.
Yeah, maybe those two would like each other. I don't have a problem with those two pretending to like each other, which is probably what will happen. But the rest of the locker room will be like, fuck. There's no way that if Russell Wilson was running up and down the airplane on the way to London, there's no way that John Harbaugh wouldn't be there as well.
Jim Harbaugh seems to be loved for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, maybe. But they've already had Russell Wilson for a year, and have already said they don't like it. I saw something about Jerry Jeudy saying some shit
for at least 2 more years.
Yeah. Did Jerry Jeudy say?
A lot of his teammates came out and backed him up now.
Did they?
Right, yeah, but I feel like that it's too little too late. You waited until you had to.
I just saw something really funny about Jerry Jeudy saying that he fucking hates Russell Wilson, but I don't think it was true. I'll look it up. We'll find out. But
even if he did hate him, would you say that?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's just it's the way that everybody was debating it underneath.
You would just have your agent call the team and be like, "Fucking trade me," because he's not playing with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's what would really happen, right? Yeah.
I don't know. As a Badger fan, I hate that Russell Wilson's like having to deal with all this, but like sometimes you just bring some shit on yourself and you got to like deal with it.
He looked good against the Chiefs. Like he
Yeah.
might be like it might have been the head coach that was the problem.
Yeah, well, Nathaniel Hackett, I don't think he should have been a head coach. I said that when he was interviewing for the Vikings job. Like, please do not let us hire this fuck.
It's what we said at the start of the year. We said, like, this is Nathaniel Hackett being shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Russell Wilson has not played well or helped himself either.
They
but
hired
Nathaniel
Hackett.
Hackett is shit.
They hired Hackett because they still thought they had a chance at Rodgers.
Yeah. Which, like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know how Nathaniel Hackett, like, Rodgers wouldn't have helped Nathaniel Hackett that much.
He would have, because Rodgers would have been the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. So Nathaniel Hackett
ran
wouldn't
his
have done
own
anything.
offense, and Hackett could have just like done the Mike McCarthy thing on the sidelines.
Yeah. Yeah, what, like, not do clock management?
Well, that's what Hackett did this year
Yeah.
too, was not do clock management. So I figured he could do
Hackett
the
was just
McCarthy.
terrible.
Don't worry, Rodgers would have clock managed for him too.
Yeah, maybe Hackett is like Mike McCarthy if there was like no football IQ in him whatsoever.
I still think Mike McCarthy tricked Jerry Jones with that fake
100%.
walkthrough by Tom Pelissero, acting like he was doing work in the offseason in his office.
Yeah, 100%. I'm starting to come around a little bit on Mike McCarthy. Like, we're back to back, like, good regular seasons, but how much of it is down to Mike McCarthy is just what I ask every time.
I told you what's
Like,
going to happen. You're going to get to the NFC Championship game. You're going to lose, and you're going to be stuck with McCarthy. But if you get bounced in the first round, Jerry's firing his ass and backing a boatload of money up to Sean Payton.
Yeah, like if we lose out on if Kellen Moore leaves, if Dan Quinn leaves, or we lose out on Sean Payton, but we keep Mike McCarthy, I will be fucking fuming. Like, whichever one of the two coordinators decides to leave, I'm giving them the head coaching job and getting rid of Mike McCarthy, or Sean Payton's coming. Like, I'd take Sean Payton. If we won the fucking Super Bowl, I'd take Sean Payton.
Everything I've heard is that's his dream job.
It should be. Like, everything makes sense for him as well. Like, we have a solid offense. I'd feel sorry for Kellen Moore with Sean Payton coming in, because there's no way that Kellen Moore's going to be the offensive coordinator anymore, right? But yeah, imagine Sean Payton and Dan Quinn on the same coaching staff.
He'd get a job right away.
Yeah, he'd walk into any job. I'd love to see Kellen Moore with like the Indy. No, maybe not.
Put him with Justin
the Denver
Fields.
job. Yeah, get him in Chicago. Offensive coordinator in Chicago.
Kellen Moore would kick his ass in the fucking locker room. Like, you're making me look bad.
Kellen Moore would fucking hate that.
Kellen Moore was a better thrower of the football as a third-string quarterback. Okay,
I agree. I wish I would have loved to have seen Kellen Moore more times playing.
Go watch him on Hard Knocks with the Dolphins and Ryan Tannehill.
I actually really like Kellen Moore. Like, I really liked Kellen Moore as a quarterback. Like, I actually thought he was really good.
Yeah, no, I didn't mind him. Like,
just
but if you want to see
time.
more of him, he's the backup to Ryan Tannehill in Tannehill's rookie year. That's the other way around, maybe. But yeah.
I really like left-handed quarterbacks. I've realized watching Tua drop back, it's so surreal. Like, I just really enjoy it. So
I've heard receivers say it's really hard to get used to.
Yeah, well, your professional
football
football
your whole life catching a right-handed spin, and then this ball comes completely. That's why punt returners say left-footed kickers are harder to catch.
Yeah, there's got to be a market though for, like, it's so surreal that it's not more 50-50 with left-handed.
Well, now here's the problem too. So as soon as you get a left-handed quarterback, your blind side becomes your right tackle. So now your right tackle is more important than your left tackle, except all the best DNs rush off the left tackle side.
Yeah.
Becomes weird.
It's all just really strange. I just love watching them drop back, like, because they've completely. It's also on the TV coverage. It becomes really weird because they've got.
It almost looks like they mirrored the TV.
Yeah, you're always looking at the same side of each quarterback whenever they play, which is strange as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I didn't even think we'd make it an hour with this
No.
episode, and we made
We've
it
just
over.
gone for it.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And the Bears
got
got beat on a little bit.
Yeah, on right tangents. As soon as me and you start talking about Justin Fields, we can go for hours and hours and hours. We brought him up twice in this episode at
Well,
the start and
it'll give us something to talk about in the off season.
just all Justin Fields.
Well, I think we'll have a really good quarterback episode in the off season because we'll be able to talk about should they or shouldn't they, what should teams do, like that kind of thing, and the quarterback carousel in the NFL, which I think we're going to see more movement's been lately over the years than we've seen before. So the quarterback conversation will be fun.
Yeah. Also, 62 quarterbacks have played in the NFL this season, which is 63 quarterbacks. And then Sam Howell is playing, so that's 64. So that's on average 2 quarterbacks per team this year.
All right.
Which is fun.
Well, look at you, fucking stat master there.
I was just I just heard that and was like, that's just fucking crazy. Like, that's just a crazy stat this year.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Check out all the other shows. Hit that like and subscribe. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.